Death Star, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
Well, there's very, very little Star Wars news going on, but Doug and I are going to take our long-awaited trip under the sea. This is the Wars and More. I'm Joe. Of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, under the sea. You know, sometimes I feel like we just hate ourselves, but you know, I blame you for this.
Hey. I guess I'll say a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. So after we wrap up like I said, the very, very little Star Wars news that's going on, we're going to take a dive.
Nice.
Wow. I'm going to pun the hell out of this thing.
Full of them.
Into the live action version of The Little Mermaid and compare it with our feelings of the original Little Mermaid. We mentioned before how much we really liked the original film.
Yep.
The animated film.
Yep.
It was one of my favorites growing up. You said it's one of your favorites.
Right.
You know, it's just, and you know, like thinking about it and like how I looked at the new one, we'll get into all this, but I think about how I got into music and stuff like that. And I watched the original and then I watched the new one. I'm like, wow, this really makes sense why this original film was one of my favorites growing up. Considering that I got into music, I got into all this stuff. Like, it just made sense with the analytics I was putting into this.
Right.
So
Okay.
I know it's like a reverse connection, right?
Right.
Like, I wasn't into music when I'm watching this as a kid. So I'm using like I said that I grew up to get into music, but I'm using this reverse connection. Like, oh,
Gotcha.
maybe that's why.
Okay.
Like I was gonna have a draw to music, so
Right.
yeah. Maybe that was deep down inside when I was a kid.
Okay.
Totally bullshitting right now.
Yeah. You know.
Just making it up. But first, I think we got to talk about this. Okay, I'm gonna put it this way. I don't want to say push to renew the Acolyte because that I think is a misnomer.
Okay.
This perceived push to renew the Acolyte.
Sure. Yes.
I think it's perceived.
It's just not going to happen.
It's a push by some, and don't get me wrong, and I don't want to hate on people that are really pushing for this because they really liked it.
Look, if you really liked it, man, you know, do your thing.
Do your thing,
Try and get it renewed. Absolutely.
but don't throw your lot in with the media and stuff that is like using your push to call everyone else out.
Call them out.
Call out like
Why? Whatever
the
do you
rest
mean?
the rest of Star Wars fandom, right? Like,
Well, I mean, if you're okay.
well, I'll just put it this way: to call out the racist bunch of us that just don't want to see the Acolyte because they got a black girl.
Thank you. Okay, so
Those people.
that's what's going on. That's the thing. That's the big issue that's going on right now. Right. This. I mean, you just looked it up. So, what does the petition look like, Joe, to renew the Acolyte?
Well, the change.org petition that started on August 20th. As of today, when we're recording, which is September 5th, it has gotten 68,224 signatures.
68,000 signatures. Now, I mean, as somebody who's participated in a a drive to get a show renewed, to get a final season of it created. How does that make you feel, Joe?
Well, I'll say this. Having been involved in, the social media push, the writing the letters to save the Clone Wars.
Yep.
Been to conventions and things like that where this had a huge presence. I'm sorry, this 68,000, this ain't cutting it.
Exactly.
This ain't cutting it. I mean,
it's only proving what Disney looked at and said, wow, yeah, we just can't afford to do another season.
Like, this is less than the viewership numbers that gave them the decision to cancel it. Okay. Like,
Right.
It's, you have to understand, like, people are acting like it's because of what people, what they're saying, the vitriol and all this online, the review bombing and things like that canceled the show. No, it's because no one watched it.
That's the problem.
Okay. And the viewership steadily fell off, and it's not because of the review bombing. Okay. Look, if someone is watching a show and they legit enjoy it, it doesn't matter what someone on Rotten Tomatoes said. Okay. Stop thinking that everybody is just a robot that is going to go to Rotten Tomatoes to see if they should watch next week.
That's
okay. That's not a thing.
right.
That's not a real thing. That's not real life.
Let's update things as to what's been going on over the past day or so. Okay. So there are certain, I don't even know if we need to get into who it is or anything, but there are a handful of YouTube channels that have been getting called out, okay, by a lot of these petition signers, we'll say. And
it's not a lot of them. Don't use a lot of these petition signers. There's just not that many of them.
so a few of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And they have gone to YouTube and said these channels need to be like shut down. And
For voicing their opinion about a show.
so the beautiful part is this was a few days ago that they actually went to YouTube on this. And YouTube, didn't really respond. So they said, hey, a response would be nice, see where we're at on this. And they're putting all this out there, by the way, for everyone to see, which is, okay. But
I mean, just go ahead and say, hey, look how crazy we are.
YouTube came back and said, we have very carefully gone over these videos that you're talking about, and there are no terms violations on any of them. So, sorry.
Weird.
They'll remain. Yeah. Yep. I don't. If something's bad, it's just bad. If you like it, okay, that's cool. Like it. But the fact that you like it doesn't mean it deserves another season. I'm sorry.
Right. And, like, the thing that blows me away is, like, I get on X, right? And, I see these posts from people like, oh, yeah, people really hated the Acolyte. Look at this panel that we're having and all these people that came and they were lined up out the door. Like, it is a small-ass room.
Dude. What was
Okay,
there,
and
100, 150 people in there, maybe?
right, and I'm sorry, and my favorite comment that someone said on this, if people's reaction in showing up to a panel at a con determined whether a show or not we should be watching season 28 of Firefly.
Exactly.
Okay, like,
Yes.
like, look, it's the viewership that got this show canceled.
Yep.
Okay. And if viewership was not driven by review bombing, okay,
The-
it started out good. It started out with a high viewership,
The
and it's progressively declined
Yep.
as this series went on. This
And-
is people dropping off because they're not interested anymore, not because of what they read, not because of the podcast that they listen to. People are not like these zombies that just, follow whatever this podcaster tells them to do.
Right.
I'm sorry, and I know you didn't want to name people, but like I know they targeted Star Wars Theory, things like that.
Yes.
Look, I'm sorry.
I don't care. We can. If you're going to throw names out there, specifically it was Star Wars Theory, Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, and RK Outpost. Specifically.
And I mean, and I hate to be like this, but I'm no fan of Star Wars Theory.
You're not.
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I think he has good points from time to time. But I think overall, he's a little too old Star Wars driven sometimes. Okay? My opinion. I think he allows himself to be a little closed-minded sometimes. I wouldn't go and say the guy's doing it because of any other reason other than he loves this core idea of Star Wars. And I'll say this. He has every right to love that core idea of Star Wars.
Right.
And want it to fit that mold. Nothing wrong with that. It doesn't, a lot of the stuff that happens there doesn't exactly jive with how I felt about some stuff.
Okay.
And that's fine. That's fine. When people call it out, I go back and listen because it's not like, oh my God, I cannot stand that guy. I can't listen to it. I'll go back and listen like, oh, really? What do you say to piss people off? And 9 times out of 10, I listen to the thing that enraged people and I'm like, wow, that's what made you mad?
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that gets me about all of it is they're saying things to imply that these channels were trashing this show before it ever even aired because of things like the casting and stuff, right? Which I have to say, those aren't the things.
See that.
Right, exactly. Those aren't the things that they were trashing. I'd like to bring up one of the things that they were trashing before the show aired, right? So this is in response to, basically just talking. This is Leslie Headland talking about the makeup of her crew, to run this show. So she says, what I also learned about hiring my room is that everyone's fandom was very different. No one had the same experience with Star Wars. There were people like myself that were like later in life Filoni acolytes. I literally had one writer that was like, I have never seen any of them. I've never seen any Star Wars media. And she's texting me before we started the room. She's like, Luke and Leia are brother and sister? What the? And it was so great because I would really love to know from someone who's not fully immersed in this fandom, what do you think about the pitch we just made? That's the type of stuff that they were criticizing before the show ever aired.
Right. And
So,
I'll say this. That's the way, it's the way she worded it that would have bothered me. Not so much that she was bringing on people who weren't necessarily Star Wars fans. Okay? Because if you're bringing someone on who's not a Star Wars fan to do Star Wars, right? Like they're not up to date on Star Wars. Please explain to me why you're bringing them on. What creative, you're making Star Wars. You're the Star Wars fan. What creatively made you decide that that person was right for this?
right.
Because there are new people that have come into Star Wars that were not Star Wars fan when they came in. They were Star Wars fans when they left, and they did good while they were here.
Sure.
There's plenty of those people out there. You do not have to recruit people solely because they love Star Wars.
You are talking about writers, though. Okay.
Oh, that's the same thing. I think writers, no matter what, I don't think it's important that they're necessarily a Star Wars fan. Okay. About them?
I would say
what
that it
about
would
their
help
writings
to see it, to at least know it. I don't know. I can't help but.
But this is before they were doing it. They were obviously doing their research, right? So they're obviously doing their research.
Sure.
So that's my complaint about how that's framed. like we have to have Star Wars fans or people who know this. No, that's not necessarily true. But please explain to me, as the lead person who talks about how they love Star Wars and stuff, please, when you're doing that, tell me what about their creative style did you see that made them a good fit for Star Wars?
Here's the thing about this that I really can't even grasp here. Is she's admitting that she is not even necessarily like the hugest Star Wars fan, right? There were many people like myself that were like later in life Filoni acolytes. You know, if
Right.
she's going to be the one in charge, she needs a pretty in-depth knowledge as far as I'm concerned. You
Right.
know?
Well,
Or,
right,
or say, you know what? I might not have all the knowledge, but I'm going to surround myself with all these people who have it.
right.
You know? And I understand Lucasfilm has all these people that know everything, and if they don't, they'll just make it up. But it was
We know about those
flaunting.
people.
It was flaunting the fact that I'm bringing people in to do this that know nothing about it, and it's gonna be great. Yeah, you see how great it was.
Which, like I said, that on its surface doesn't scare me per se. But why are you doing it?
Yeah, but here's my thing. That's what was being flaunted, and you see the products we got.
Right.
That's the connection I'm making. Okay? I mean, and that is what a lot of these channels that were saying, you know, they were dogging the show before it ever came out. That's what they were talking about.
Oh, I mean, and we're gonna have a conversation when we get into this Little Mermaid stuff about lazy writing, right?
Sure.
And I think the Acolyte had a decent amount of that lazy writing, which is like, hey, we can do 2 episodes the same. Like, I'm sorry, because Obi-Wan said one line in Star Wars. Now we got this certain point of view thing going on, which is creating this just plethora of lazy writing.
Yes.
Okay, where we just tell the same exact story from a different point of view. It doesn't change that much. But like, you literally made me sit through 2 almost carbon copy episodes with very, 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 very minimal change for that other point of view. That is lazy writing. Okay? That is not something that's going to get me hooked. You know, you use little things like, oh, look at this creature in a cave. That must be Darth Plagueis. Really?
Right.
So you're trying to hook me by putting this character that's probably Plagueis in there and do nothing with it.
Right.
This is lazy. Okay? This is one, I think, knowing that you don't have that good of a story.
I feel like, okay, I have no basis on this. It just feels to me like somebody who is hanging around a bunch of Star Wars fans and was like, oh, they like this, they like that. I'm going to do something with all of these things. And that's it. You know, I am going to, you know, whatever. I'm going to create the golden Plagueis idol or something. You know, I and for no other reason than just to do it.
This is the mistake with writing a show for a season 2 when you don't have it yet.
Oh yeah. I mean, this thing had to kill it with the budget it had. Okay,
Yeah.
It had double the budget of Kenobi. double.
Double the budget.
And there was a lot of criticism of Kenobi, but I think if we were to have ever seen a second season, which we won't, I think people would have been up for it still. Because we'd have probably gotten more along the lines of what we really wanted in the first. But this one, with double the budget, had to really kill it in the numbers, and it just
So you had
fell
double
off the
the
cliff.
budget of Kenobi, and for Kenobi, they had Ewan McGregor in every episode.
Yeah.
They had to pay an A-lister for every episode.
Yeah.
And you doubled that?
I gotta find something here. Yeah, it was insane when I started hearing some numbers here.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, that's not good. That's not good. And I don't know. Like I said, to me, it was just like every episode was like teasing the next.
Right.
And some of those didn't even touch on what happened before. It was like, wait. And then like you're getting teased the next, teased the next, teased the next, teased the next. Oh wait, back to episode 2. You know, like, and then like not only that, but you're gonna show a different point of view from an episode. How do you sit in the screening room watching this stuff and not go, wow, that episode was kind of our weakest episode.
Right.
We should probably do that again.
Okay. I just got to throw this out there, Joe, because you're going to love this one. The budget of The Acolyte breaks down to $670,000 per on-air minute.
Per minute?
Yep.
You're shitting
It's
me.
a $180 million budget. How many episodes we get?
Wait. So most of the show, with the exception of the lightsaber scenes, okay, I mean, it looked like they filmed it for TikTok. They might as well started the episode with like, "Hey guys,"
Yeah. Well,
you know, like
that's what people are asking. It's like, where did this go? 8 episodes, $180 million. And these were like, what, 35-minute episodes? Oh, here it says, assuming an average length of 45 to 60 minutes. Yeah. Oh, this is actually breaking it down to 428,000 per minute. That's funny. I just, regardless,
per minute.
per minute. That is insane for what we got, is it not? I mean,
Well-
this was feature film level budget.
Oh, I don't know how this 68,000 signatures hasn't gotten this renewed already.
Exactly.
I mean, with numbers like that, they'd be stupid not to renew it.
And okay, what kills me is you have to look at, Disney as a company is looking at numbers. Sorry, they're a company. They look at numbers. And they're looking at $180 million, all right? And they're looking at ratings numbers. Something about this just doesn't add up. So no season 2.
And it's not like Disney could be fooled, right? It's not like Disney is an advertiser for a cable television show and could be fooled by some viewership numbers, right?
Disney knows how to make money.
They know how to make money, but they know exactly how many people watch this.
Yes.
You had to log in with your unique ID
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and watch this show.
And-
They know when, and like, dude, I can tell you how many people finished this podcast.
Right.
All right. And we're not spending anywhere near Disney money.
Exactly. Yes.
We're not spending near Miramax money. I know that's gone, but
We are now.
oh wait, did that hit a little home for Leslie Headland?
Oh. Nice. Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't understand how there is no coping with the fact that it just didn't do well. It didn't do well, so we have to blame somebody. That's the problem with it that I'm having right now.
And I don't disagree. I don't disagree that the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, like I cannot honestly sit back and say, wow, there's no way that people just bombed that. No, people absolutely, there were people that absolutely did. They went on there, probably never watched an episode, and just wrote a shitty review because they hate Disney Star Wars. Okay, yes, that happened. It absolutely did. I don't think that any of that is anywhere near on the scale to make your point.
Right.
It just doesn't make your point. Like this show, I mean, I really, really, really want the opportunity to sit down with someone who absolutely adored this.
Here's the
and
problem.
Have a legit conversation with them, right? That's
Yes.
going to be the hard thing.
That's going to be
the
the
people
hard
that
part.
say they did, because they're being irrational with their conversations.
They are.
No matter what, they want to tell me that I'm racist or this or that or whatever. Like, no. I watched every single episode of this show. I didn't drop off. Okay. I wanted this show to turn around. I want Star Wars to be successful.
Right.
Okay. I thought, I mean, you can listen to our episodes in this podcast, especially in the early episodes of this show, you know, me talk the way what I had to say about Amanda Stenberg and how she was portraying two different characters and things like that. Like the strengths that were there. I was trying to find the strengths in this show.
Right.
But this show just got so disjointed. Wanted to tell too many stories. Didn't want it to be like.
We were bringing up a lot of the, a good points, a lot of the same points that some of these other people were, about what the show lacked. Okay. And the people who were going to love the show, not on the merits of the show, but because, I don't know, for whatever reason they feel they had to, were just going to love it and be loud about it. I mean, that's what it boils down to. This is one of those cases too, where, what we see a lot of now is the actors. They used to be kind of like above it all, right? In the old days, the actors were like, hey, some people love it. That's great. Some people don't. That's great. It is what it is. I'm going to go live my life over here. I played in the show. I love doing it. Awesome. Now, and I'm going to bring this up. You might hate me for it, but I'm going to do it anyway. You have actors in the show saying stuff like, that's when we started experiencing a rampage of, I would say, hyper-conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us. Because people didn't like the show.
When
that's
they started...
they perceive it.
Right, but it's... And I'm going to say this, it's not even their fault. It's not even their fault, because when Disney starts to preempt it, when Kathleen Kennedy is preempting,
oh yeah, yes,
how people are going to react. First off, one, you say that you're setting the stage for the trolls.
Absolutely.
Okay, the trolls are going to start right away because you set that stage. When you start making excuses for how this show's going to do with reviews before it's out, that's when you're going to struggle.
Yeah. I got to tell you, if I'm Bob Iger, I don't want to hear that kind of stuff coming up to a release.
But you make it hard for the rest of us that want to sit down and we experienced this all through The Last Jedi and things like that, like where we fought ourselves to try and love a show, to try and love a movie, right? We literally fought ourselves.
Absolutely.
We were thinking that the way we were feeling was wrong.
Yep.
Okay? Because of all of that. The same thing was happening then. And like looking back on it, like they were doing things like, you know, with the Kelly Marie Tran stuff and like all that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They were preempting what they released.
Yeah, but who gets lost in the shuffle of all that? John Boyega. Everybody wanted to see more out of that character.
Right. But they don't want to talk about that.
No.
I mean, hell, there was even a minute there where John Boyega was believing it, and then Disney had a problem because he came out and called them racist.
Exactly.
And why was that? Because they were using that idea of racism and things like that. Don't get me wrong, okay? There are tons of assholes out there that are being racist, and they're doing this because this character's black, or
Sure.
that character's Asian,
you know
or
what?
this is a woman. Like
You're always going to have that.
always. But like when you're preempting it and you're putting like people like us in a box, right?
Right.
Where we feel like we can't speak out about something we dislike because we're going to be perceived as such.
Right.
Like that sucks.
Yep.
That sucks. And then we get all wooden
Exactly.
and feel like we can't say certain things. So then when we say it in a roundabout way, it makes it sound worse
Yeah, exactly.
than if we just come out and say it.
Yep.
So I don't know. Disney's got to stop preempting stuff, right? Saying, oh yeah, this is not going to be like Kathleen Kennedy essentially said this show's not going to be successful because, you know, Star Wars fans are racist.
Yeah.
And then you're like surprised when Star Wars fans like push back on that. Like, how dare you call us racist? Like,
Right.
like it's like you put everyone in like, wait, are they still doing a weekly Star Wars show on StarWars.com? Or did that stop when Andy Gutierrez started drinking out of a mug that said fanboy tears on it? I mean, is it just me, or did that happen that way? Did that shut down like that because they did that?
I don't know.
Like they show that they revel in the misery of people that pay the bills?
I don't know if that's when it stopped, but that's exactly what happened. I mean,
That's exactly when that show stopped. I mean,
Okay.
not exactly,
yeah.
but it was very, very shortly after that.
Right.
And she had no reason to do that because I love that show.
Yeah, me too.
I love that show. But I'm like, why are you like trying to make more of it? What's your purpose here? And now I'm absolutely convinced that they can just hire anybody and throw out some crap and then just blame angry Star Wars fans.
Well, I think the whole point was to do exactly that. It's like, look, we are going to. There was a certain formula to Star Wars. Well, we're throwing that away, okay? And certain people who lived the lore, okay, don't need them. We're going to make this other thing, call it Star Wars, and if you don't like it, you suck. It's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they did. And then we're the bad guys.
Yep.
You know, and like I said, we fought so long to not be in that group.
Exactly.
And then we're like, hey, we're doing exactly what they want. They're not making stuff we like anymore. And we're letting them make us feel guilty about not liking it. What's wrong with this?
Everything.
Everything. You should be allowed to not like something.
Absolutely.
Moral of the story. You should be allowed to not like something. And you should be allowed to voice your opinion about not liking it.
Yep.
Okay? Without fear of being called this, that, or the other. Look, if you're being a racist asshole, you should be called out for that.
Sure. But if you're not,
don't.
Yes.
I've had 2 conversations about The Acolyte, right? With people who had just started watching it.
Okay.
Like not even as far in as me, so I couldn't even spoiler anything.
Right.
Right? And in the midst of this conversation, they asked me, like, well, how do you feel about the show? And I'm like, I'm not really digging it like I thought I would, things like that. And immediately that person says to me, what, are you a racist?
Really?
I'm like, no. Well, what don't you like about it? I was like, well, there's just there's this character and there's this and there's, this story. Oh, it all centers around this. You must be like, no.
Wow. That I have to say, that is very surface level thinking.
It is.
Right there.
It is. Reading headlines, and since you think this, you must be that.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, that's not why I think this, and let me tell you why, and then I can reference this story or that story, and like, am I latching on to the past a little bit? Sure, but like, why wouldn't we?
Right.
This is the stuff that made me love Star Wars. Why wouldn't I latch onto that at least a little bit? And there's like all this stuff like, oh, it's because it's a female lead. Like, I'm sorry, did y'all not see Princess Leia?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, have you been paying attention?
Amidala.
Padme, like, come on.
Yeah.
You not been paying attention here? Like, that ain't the problem. Who's playing the character has never been the problem.
Exactly.
Not once. And like they talk about, like, oh, you didn't like The Last Jedi? Oh, you must be racist against Kelly Marie Tran. It's like, no.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
No, how about if you want to like play that game, how about you not make John Boyega run around for 2 hours yelling Rey?
Right.
Okay, like, try that.
Yep.
Try giving this man a story.
Yes. Because
he's one of the most interesting characters in your group, and you're screwing him.
Yep. For the guy who was holding the lightsaber on the poster, we thought we were going to go in there and see something big out of him, and all he was trying to do was run away from it the whole time.
Well, how about this? Okay, I'll give him credit for the first one. Okay, the guy's trying to get away.
Yeah. Okay.
He knows he's a deserter. He's gonna die. Like, the dude wants to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yes.
But in the end of that film, he turns to a Force-using Darksider with a lightsaber.
Yep.
And takes him on.
Yep. No, I'll give you
let's
that.
Let's go to movie 2.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Oh, he's trying to run again.
Yep.
After standing his ground.
Exactly.
After all the growth, he's back to the beginning.
Right.
What are you doing to this guy? Like, he was a hero.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
And then, like, okay, he decides to be brave again. Right?
Yep.
In the end of the movie, after you made him run away again. He decides to be brave again. He's going to sacrifice himself to save his friends.
Right.
No, screw that. You got to have this other character come in and take that away from him.
Exactly.
Like, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to see Finn die in there.
No.
But it would have been a hell of a lot better way of going out
Yeah, but
than getting to spend the next movie again running around yelling Rey.
I'm sorry, but it's Star Wars. He didn't necessarily have to die, right? Star Wars characters have taken worse shots than that and lived. So, don't even give me that. He would have had to have died if he took that cannon out. No way.
If he would have flew right into it.
They cut Darth Maul in half. Come on. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but Darth Maul was a Sith.
Yeah, hey. Get what I'm saying. Hey,
I know.
they were alluding to the fact that he might have some sort of Jedi power. So, you
Well,
know.
it did that in a freaking poster.
Right.
In the trailer.
Right.
Let's
Right.
just
I
say
got
all
something to
the
tell you.
promotional content.
Right.
I got a picture of me standing next to the 17-foot long poster of Finn with the lightsaber horizontally. Okay, like
Right.
they've really made us think there was a lot of high hopes for this guy.
Yes.
They took that away from him, not me.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right.
It only gets better from here, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could beat this dead horse for the rest of the night.
Yep.
But like, moral of the story. Look, people, sometimes shows just suck.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I'm going to even say this. I'll be honest. I'd rather see this show get continued.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see if they could save it.
Well, that's a deep hole you got to dig yourself out of.
It really is. It really is. But I'll tell you what. I mean, it gave me enough. Like, I bashed him on the Plagueis thing, but like, hey, if you do something with that, there's potential.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to want to do that because
No.
I think the best way to have that happen is those two are laying dead at his feet at the end.
Right. Yes. I just want to bring up something for everyone to consider. Almost 20 years ago, and if you're a Star Wars fan from way back, you'll know what I'm talking about because you brought it up before we started recording, Joe. There was a show called Firefly, and this show ran for one season and was canceled because it just did not have the numbers. But this one season was freaking phenomenal. There is a cult following for this show for years. If you've been to cons, you've seen people dressed up as these characters and stuff. Without a doubt. And that show was good. You've seen it.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the numbers and it got canceled. This sort of thing just happens. Everyone's got to get over it.
Now, you may get lucky. If you got a good enough cult following, you might get a movie to kind of wrap it up.
Well, that's what happened there, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll say this, okay? For the people that aren't just towing a line, right?
Right.
Because I got to be honest, I've seen a lot of the stuff on X. I've seen a lot of the stuff on Facebook. I've seen a lot of the stuff on, other places. And a lot of people are just towing a line.
Absolutely.
They're in this new Star Wars following and they feel like they got to defend everything new Star Wars. Which, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're one of the people that truly did love this show, as someone who wrote a letter to save the Clone Wars, seriously, sit down, write your heartfelt letter.
Yeah.
Try to save something for your show. Absolutely do that.
Absolutely. Then
Because while I'm not a fan, I respect my fellow Star Wars fans. And if you love this, you should fight for it.
right.
Okay? You should.
100%.
100%. 100%. Fight for your Star Wars. Just remember that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Okay? Just remember that's what we're doing. And I don't hate on people for fighting for what they love and what they enjoy. You absolutely should. Absolutely should.
Yeah, for sure.
So go write that letter. I encourage you to go write that letter. And for those of you that truly love it, I'm pulling for you. I'm pulling for you. I hope you get what you wanted out of this show, whether it be via movie or you win and get another season. Because let's be honest, to get something done somewhere in the future, it's only going to take a few really, really good letters.
Yeah.
And they'll realize, hey, maybe we can make money on this in the future if we maybe adjust this, that, or that,
Right.
because there's every chance that they could pull people back in and please everybody. There's always a chance. So write your letter.
Yep.
And don't write a second one,
Right.
Fight for your show, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And like I said, I hope you get, even if it's a book later, that gets you that, man, there were some books that came out in that Clone Wars era and stuff, like things that they, like Dark Disciple, right?
Yep.
This was a Clone Wars arc that never happened, but we got a book that kicked ass. It was a great book.
Right.
So, yeah, fight for it. All right. The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
Because this show wasn't angry enough.
Oh, man. right.
You want to start this?
Let me just say, look, this might seem like an odd choice for us. It's I don't know. I'm an old guy, talking about the Little Mermaid, right? But this is for me. This was like popular during the time that I was, dating my girlfriend at the time. Who became my wife, and doing whatever. You watch this movie and actually like it, and
right.
It's I don't know. It's just one of those. It was like, it's like, wow. I grew up with my mother loving all the Disney princess movies, so I'd see them. But then this one was actually like, wow, this is really good, and it's geared more towards my era, and whatever. It was.
Well, I mean, it's got some of the catchiest tunes. I mean, it's just
for sure.
I mean, we don't even have to talk about when it comes to the music of The Little Mermaid. We don't have to go much further than Under the Sea, right?
Right.
Everybody knows this song. I mean, hell, go to Disney, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're going to hear this song multiple times, not just at some point.
Right.
There's a lot of Disney songs you're going to hear at some point. No, you are going to hear Under the Sea a lot.
Right.
Okay? And there's a reason for that.
Yep.
It's one of the most famous songs in the Disney vault.
Right.
So, and then you're talking about it's weird for us. No, when I was growing up, The Little Mermaid was one of the biggest ones. It was huge amongst, my age group and things like that. And
right.
Hell, it was huge amongst my sisters, who's, a decade younger than me. and then huge amongst my brothers, who's a decade and a half younger than me.
Right.
So it's a timeless classic.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I thought, really thinking about like Star Wars, how we grew up with it, things like that. It's not that far fetched that we're going to be talking about this movie.
Right. This was okay. I'm just going to throw this out there. We were trying to figure out what we're going to talk about, and you came up with this idea, and I was not opposed. But for those who might think, hey, this is a little out of the ordinary, blame it on Joe. That's all.
Well, I mean, I think you can look through our archive. I'm pretty sure we have an episode that is named Under the Sea or something like that, because when this trailer was released, we immediately talked about it.
Right.
Because, we're both fans of The Little Mermaid.
Sure.
I'm not scared to say it.
No. Nor am I. But, it just might be something that people aren't expecting from us. That's all.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I mean, and our friends are going to roast us for. So,
that's okay.
It's what it is.
That would happen anyway. So
that would happen anyway. Yeah. It happens for Star Wars.
Right.
So anyway, on to the movie.
Right.
Well, go for it.
Why did they try so hard to show that they were going to make it better than the original and fail at every chance they had? How's that?
That's really a good way to put it. Like, I mean, you talk about they omitted songs, they added songs, they I guess I'll go right to I think would be my biggest hang up in the film.
Okay.
Which is Under the Sea.
Okay.
While the song itself, I thought they executed fairly well.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay. I felt like visually it lacked.
Yes.
I felt like, okay, I'll get to my number one hang up throughout this. When Ariel started singing back up to Sebastian in this song, in the portions that it was like the sea life.
Right.
This really hurt this film a lot for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the feeling of the ocean being alive in a very human-like way.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes. And anthropomorphic is what
yes.
The term, right? All these sea creatures can sing. Yes. That's what we're looking for.
And they just skipped that. I don't know if it was budget constraints or what.
I don't know. I don't know.
But one, this like, oh man, I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people mad.
Good.
It's going to make a lot of people mad. All right. Say a sorry in advance, sorry not sorry kind of thing in advance to all you kids nowadays. You cannot just shut up and listen for a second, can you?
Exactly.
That's how I felt with Ariel chiming in on the song.
Okay.
Like, this is a story to convince Ariel about how good she's got it.
Exactly.
Under the sea, right? Like,
right.
And she has to chime in and sing along. Well, if you're singing along, you're not listening.
And,
all right?
You're not listening. And, okay, we all know the scene, right? In the original, she is, like, half paying attention, kind of like, off in her own little world still. Finally Flounder comes and whispers in her ear and they take off. but she was never a participant in that. You
Right.
know, that was Sebastian trying to talk to her through song. She didn't participate. Now in the new one here, she's singing backups all the way up until right towards the end. She's still singing backups, and then all of a sudden she's gone. It makes no sense. Why would she? Why would she have disappeared?
Well, I put it this way: like in the original film, Ariel listened, right? Listened,
Yep.
didn't care, and left. Like,
Right.
I disagree, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In this one, it seemed like she wasn't listening, and then left. Like, I didn't care what she had to say.
Right.
Like, chimed in on the song. Like she was just trying to pick up, oh, where should I sing? Because, you know, I got such a beautiful voice.
Right.
You know? And then not only that, like, that's only the minor nitpick. My major nitpick was she's singing backups when it should have been the ocean life around them.
Right.
Singing those backups.
Yep.
Not Ariel. Okay. And I will say this, okay? I want to go back. I want to talk about casting just for a second.
Sure.
There was an initial reaction from people about the casting of Ariel.
Okay.
And I'm going to disagree with the people who disagreed with this casting of Ariel. Because I think, number one, first and foremost, above all, the voice was the most important thing. And her voice as Ariel singing those songs was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's like casting for a Broadway show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many Broadway shows have you seen where that character looked nothing like the character that you saw before?
Sure.
But man, did they sound like them?
I will say, I agree with you. The voice is super important, and they're going to let us know.
They're going to let us know.
Yeah.
What,
'Cause-
what do you mean by that?
Meaning, you know, you take what is arguably some of the best Disney music out there, and we're going to change it slightly to highlight the voice of this new actress, you know?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, but these songs are so well known that if you change them in these slight minor ways, it's like hitting a brick wall. Like, whoa, why you? Okay,
Right.
I understand that you can hit these two higher notes, but why would you there? You know,
You didn't need to.
You didn't need to.
And
Yeah,
that's the
clearly.
exact thing. That's the exact thing in a Broadway audition that would get you dismissed. All right.
Exactly.
Like, look, don't show off. Like,
Right.
okay, yeah, you can hit it, but we want someone who's just going to hit it. We brought you here to hit it.
Yep. That, while being impressive, unimpressed me for the movie. If that makes sense. It was like, oh man. You know, because you're absolutely right. She can sing. Like,
Oh, phenomenal.
really well. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Now, I will say some of the, you know, there's a long stretch in this movie where Ariel has no voice, right?
Mhm.
And they did a couple things, or there was a
Well,
couple
they had her
things
sing anyway.
that bugged me. Right. They had her sing in her head, apparently. Yeah. And then the other is, maybe it could have been the direction. I don't know, you know, but they could have had her be a little more animated when she had no voice, because it's like you have to still try and communicate, you know.
Right.
That fell a little flat for me, you know. But
I want to go back just a little bit to what you said. The singing in her head.
Yeah.
I think that really hurt the point of the movie.
absolutely.
I mean, it really did. Like, she's telling her tale in her head, But I'm sorry, it's not like she's doing that with a full face shot. Like you visually see her lips aren't moving. No, this is they're moving through a scene. You can't tell she's not singing this.
Right.
Right. It's not highlighting the fact that it's in her head.
Right.
It's just got her singing, and it's like, this is so awkward. She has no voice right now.
Exactly.
She's not supposed to be able to talk. Like, the awkwardness of her not being able to talk of the first film is what made that so good.
Yes.
Like, she's trying to convey her words. Like, I mean, even the, man, I'm gonna nitpick this to hell.
It's okay.
Like, even the Dinglehopper scene, right?
Yes.
Like, 2 people see her? No, she did it at the dinner table, dude. Like,
Right.
like in front of everybody. She didn't do it in like the market with like 2 people looking at her.
Well,
That's bullshit.
now the Dinglehopper scene in the original was at the dinner table with simply Eric and Grimsby.
Right. But it was very pronounced.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like in the market with 2 strangers.
Right.
That's the way I should have put it.
Yes.
2 strangers who aren't going to see her for the rest of the film. Doesn't mean nothing. Like, that was just weird. Why would you take away the fact that she did that at the dinner table with the people that are important in the film?
Right.
Like, that just felt odd.
Absolutely. There was a lot of stuff added to this movie that I felt like was completely unnecessary. Okay? The whole celebration of, it was Sebastian composing a piece of work for the king, utilizing his daughters singing. Ariel was supposed to be the highlight of it all, and she wasn't there. Here it's what was it? The celebration of the coral moon, something or another. I don't know. I don't care because it means nothing in the movie. I don't understand why you need to make these type of changes if you think it's gonna pull in an adult audience better. I disagree because I am the adult audience now, and I remember the old one. You know what I mean?
And not only that, like, it's the first one kind of made Ariel out as the unruly daughter.
Yes.
Right? So the other daughters are there. They showed up for the performance. And then, it leads up to it. They're singing about Ariel. They're building up to it. They're building up to it.
Exactly.
And then she's not there.
Yep.
And this one is just, he's going through his 7 daughters. And it's like, oh, Ariel's not here. She just seems like the relative that's late to Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it doesn't have the same impact.
Right.
That's all that felt like. Like, okay, so she's late. I've been there.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the
I've never been late to Thanksgiving, and my dad had to blow up my shit.
right. The whole tour of the kingdom scene was it was extra. I'll just say that. Unnecessarily extra.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like this movie dragged out story where it really didn't need to. The new one.
And they didn't have the budget to have her jump a chasm with the carriage.
Carriage, yeah. Yeah, Dukes of Hazzard style.
Yeah.
So, okay. We're on the subject of stuff that didn't need to be in there. I want to let you take this one because you brought it up to me before.
Oh, man. Oh, this one hurt me.
Yes.
This hurt my soul. So they give Eric a song.
Oh, my God.
And, oh, my God. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like that guy, but Doug, I think you and I could have wrote a better song on the weekend. You know, like
you could be that guy because you're not wrong.
I mean, this was so bad. It's poorly composed. It's awkward. It didn't really match the flow of the film
At all.
And then not only that, the guy's not really good at conveying emotion through song.
Yeah, exactly. How is it I put it to you? This guy sounds like he'd be in an off Broadway production or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can sing,
but
not good at
yeah.
conveying what he's singing about.
Right.
Okay. I felt like his non-musical acting conveying emotion for Ariel was way better than him trying to sing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When he sang about it, it felt flat.
Right.
I mean, it could be a lot the song and the composition and the direction there and all that. It could be.
Because all that wasn't great, I'm going to say.
It was terrible.
Yes.
It was terrible. The song was shit. I'll say it
Nice.
flat out.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry. It was, I was like, instantly like, this is shame for Disney.
Right.
Like, you are known for this. And this is just the worst.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why. Like I said, it was bad lyrically,
This
composition. It didn't fit the film. It didn't fit the flow.
it felt like to me like somebody's relative needed to get a song of theirs, like, you know, like hey, I know somebody that can fit another song in here. Let me call my cousin. You know, he can write it. Something like that. You know, that's what it feels like, because it was like, number one was completely unnecessary. Number two was not great.
It almost felt to me like they got done wrapped, right? And I feel like they got done. They've wrapped this movie, and they're like, man, something feels off because we cut the Triton song. Like, we need something somewhere. Quick, have Eric sing a song about uncharted waters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? Uncharted waters? And that's all the people had to go on, so they just wrote that over and over again.
Right. Well,
what do we got for music? Here's a couple cans and a
yeah.
There's a couple cans and a broken cheap guitar.
Right.
I mean,
Okay, so they needed this because maybe they eliminated a different song in a different whole sequence that should have been there. You know what I'm talking about? Sebastian and the Chef. It's like,
yep,
that was sorely lacking from this new version here. And I'm just going to throw this out there because I think this would have worked out perfectly. Just imagine, if you will, Jack Black playing the chef.
oh man.
Yeah. See?
I mean, I can think of a few.
Sure.
Jack Black. I mean, they love Josh Gad lately. Use him.
He would have worked. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, yeah. Something goofy. The
Yeah.
chef should have been goofy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, the chef scene lacking was huge.
Huge. I mean,
Not, oh man, I don't want to detour right away. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because what it does is it's levity in the movie that was sorely lacking. You know what I mean?
Well, in this one, right, the only way they tried to make humans look bad was dialogue between merfolk.
Right.
Instead of actually taking the moment that they used in the other one to make humans look bad a little bit.
Oh,
That's what the chef did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That made humans look a little bad, right? Like,
right.
no respect. Like, they don't respect the. What is it? Is because it was the above world.
Right.
So is it the underworld? Are they living in the underworld?
I guess. Yeah. Oh, SeaWorld.
That's bad. That's bad.
Now, I will say at the beginning of it, they did have those sailors, throwing spears over the side of the boat trying to spear a mermaid or something. But, so that is a bad look. But whatever,
Well,
the chef
they even. I couldn't believe they did this. They even referenced that she wasn't going to be able to pull him in with her siren song.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well,
Are they like actually alluding to like they draw him in and like eat him?
right.
So who's the bad guys here?
Yeah. I don't know. You got to actually know ancient lore for that, but yeah, I just. Oh. All right. You got to take this one. I mean,
Which one?
The
one I was heading for, or
go ahead. Go to what you're heading for.
well, I talked before about in Undersea the lack of sea life joining in the song.
Right.
Right. What about Flotsam and Jetsam?
Oh.
Is this where you thought I was going, or no?
No. But yes, also a good point here. This is what they were dull, quite literally muted in the new version, right?
Yes.
They played a big role in luring Ariel to Ursula in the first one. It's like you could almost just do without them in the new one.
Really? Because what, they showed up so Ursula could talk in some bubble?
Exactly.
No, they were the voice of what was the point of the eyes?
Right.
Right? Because the eyes, that's Ursula's eyes.
Right.
When they speak in the original, that's Ursula's tongue.
Right.
Okay? Like, that's the point of Flotsam and Jetsam.
Yep.
Like, they're not necessarily, even in the original, their own character. They are the eyes and the voice of Ursula.
Yep.
Period. They're under her spell. That's who they are. But in this one, they're just there. Just there.
Yep.
I guess the eyes are there so she could see, but she's still going to talk through a under the water force Skype.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, that was just awkward.
It was awkward. Clunky.
And
yeah.
And it sucks because Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
McCarthy, right?
Yep.
What a fantastic casting.
I have to say, strongest performance in this movie, in my opinion.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yep.
Without a doubt. And really should be. I mean, Ursula was kind of the highlight. Ursula, Flotsam, and Jetsam. Like, the villains in this film were the highlight of the original. So she really should be, but still, this stood out even more drastically.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, without revealing too much, we actually have a Ursula Flotsam and Jetsam painting that we purchased from a Disney artist.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So yeah, we have a legit painting of
Nice.
Flotsam and Jetsam. Now you could just do Ursula because Flotsam and Jetsam are pointless.
Yeah, exactly. Melissa McCarthy's performance was the what'd you call it?
The highlight.
The highlight of this whole movie, as far as I'm concerned. Yes.
I mean, it was the breakout, right? Like, it stood out.
Yes.
It stood out
As something very positive.
Yes.
Every other character, and I have to say, is so King Triton, Ariel, Eric, Grimsby, all of these characters were just, they fell flat to me.
I don't know if I say they all felt. I don't know if I'd say they necessarily fell flat, but they had very, very flat moments that were not present before.
Yes.
That's what I would say. Like,
Yes. Well,
because they all had, well, with the exception of Grimsby, he fell flatter than hell.
yes.
So
okay,
they almost couldn't even they almost could have Flotsam and Jetsam and not even had him in the movie.
Exactly. I will say, until you like, and this is a, I don't think that I'm like basing this all off looks or anything like that, but I feel like they could have gotten somebody with like a Peter Cushing build and facial structure and done way better with that character. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, I mean
He just didn't look the part to me. You know what I'm saying?
no, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I just, and I don't want to base everything on looks, but I mean, it was also just,
And I wouldn't just say looks.
but the whole demeanor.
His attempt at the proper all the time, like, you shouldn't be doing this, sir. Like, it just wasn't there.
Right.
You needed someone with a little more. I don't want to say a little more proper, but a little more proper.
Yeah.
Like, have him be a little more serious, kind of not falling into the humor of the moment.
Right.
So yeah,
So, yeah.
feel like we're missing something we really wanted to talk about.
Oh, there is still at least one more thing. The takedown, man.
Oh well, yeah, I was
You're
trying to
saving
not
it?
get to that just yet.
Really? Okay.
I feel like there was something else we were missing.
Well, okay. So prior, we did talk about things like the lagoon scene.
Oh yes, this yeah, we got to talk about that
Okay.
before we get to the takedown.
Okay.
This one felt, man. Okay, so Sebastian as a composer and conductor, right?
Yes, absolutely.
By taking that away from him in this film, it really took away from this scene.
Yeah.
And then I think when we talked about this off mic a little bit, you mentioned how the characters seem to be so aware.
Oh yeah.
Like they knew there was a talking crab on their shoulder, and like it it seemed like they knew all that stuff was happening.
You
Whereas
have Eric leaning over the side of the boat, looking at the glow in the water and the water spouts being shot over by the fish and getting hit in the face with one. It's like, that's not how this is supposed to go. This is supposed to, you're supposed to subliminally put him in the mood to kiss Ariel, right? That's
Right.
what it's all about. He didn't notice any of that stuff going on in the cartoon one. It's
in the cartoon one, they were lost in each other.
yes.
They were lost in each other. They didn't pay any mind to all that. Like, they're lost in each other, the ambiance, where they're at. They're not noticing that the sea life is literally trying to convince them into this, trying to coax them into this, right?
Exactly.
Like, you felt a connection throughout the first film between Eric and Ariel. Whereas in this one, you felt like they were fighting a connection.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, they're trying not to go there.
Or right. Or it's forced or something. Yeah. It felt very awkward. But yeah.
So, yeah. And then, like I said, the Sebastian as the composer thing. Man, the way he executes it, and I say it like that, but the way he executes it in the first film, percussion,
Oh yeah.
winds,
Yeah. Well, they took that away from him in this
they
one.
took it away from him.
Yeah.
Took it away from him. And it's a shame because, in all honesty, it was a good Sebastian performance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, he got robbed. He got robbed of one of the most impactful Sebastian scenes, in all honesty.
Yep.
Was Kiss the Girl.
Absolutely.
I mean, Under the Sea, most memorable, absolutely. But most impactful for the film, Kiss the Girl.
Right.
Hands down. This is when he stepped up to the plate. And I'll give credit to this film. This is the one time where Flotsam and Jetsam mattered.
Right. But that was identical to the first, flip the boat,
Flip the boat, except in the first one, they scoot off and they talk about how great they are, and tails go together, shaking hands,
right.
That's missing. But yeah, they just didn't make Flotsam and Jetsam. They didn't make them so alive.
Right.
They're just wildlife.
Yeah.
I know saying it like that sounds weird, but
Yeah. I mean,
they weren't so vibrant, right? Like
Yeah.
they weren't vibrant characters.
there's a certain suspension of disbelief in all these movies, right? And you got to be able to go there with it. And
No, man, it's got to be real. Like it could really happen.
well, that's what it feels like they're going for, and it kind of sucks that way. Sorry.
And
It's like-
and let's be real. Let's be real. If this happens in the real world, there's only going to be like 3 animals that can talk. I mean, you can't let every animal talk. That's not reality.
Oh, right. That's why they didn't let all the sea creatures talk. Gotcha. Or sing. Gotcha.
Come on, we got to be realistic here.
Yeah.
It's only going to be like 3 out of the whole bunch.
And it's going to be a crab, a fish, and a bird. Got it.
Well, they can't all be the same.
Right.
That's not realistic either.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Let's go there.
All right.
The end of the film.
Yes.
They can't help themselves.
They can't.
They can't help themselves.
They can't.
This is why, like, and then they sit back and go, why is everybody saying this? Why are they so mad?
Right.
Look, the beauty of this film is, and I would say above all Disney films, this one had this unique situation
Yes.
where the princess saves the prince,
Yep.
and then the prince saves the princess.
Right.
They were equal in this. They both saved each other. But they made the new one. It's got to be the princess saves the prince, and then, oh shit, the princess has got to save the prince again.
Yep. Exactly.
Why?
I mean, to the point where the dialogue was, King Triton says to Ariel, "Oh, you saved me." Eric was there too. That's what she said.
Okay. I'm gonna go here though, and you know what? I was due at least one in this episode.
All right.
Do at least one of these words. Where did she learn how to drive a fucking boat?
Exactly.
They got boat driving lessons under the sea.
I don't know, man. I think she must have picked it up while watching Eric.
That one time?
Spying on him. Yeah, during the storm. Her peeping Tom moment. Yeah. I don't know. It's.
Okay, I guess I get two.
Go for it.
She don't know how to use a fucking fork.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm just.
No, you're right.
And they even set it up like, okay, they set it up in this one even more so than the original. He's the explorer, the adventurer,
Yes.
this and that.
Yes.
Like he's destined to drive this boat into Ursula.
Right.
Nope.
By,
Gotta be Ariel.
by doing this, though, in the original, this was part of how he proves himself to Triton that he is good enough for his daughter.
Right.
So how do you do that in this one? I don't think he did.
No, I think the moral of the story is if you pot enough, you get what you want.
If you what?
Pout enough, you get what you want.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because... right. You pout.
No,
and
I
you're
mean,
badass.
I think that the moral of the story is in the original one was she loves him. She proved it.
Yep.
He loves her. He proved it.
Yep.
How can I keep them apart? Like that's how the first one ends.
Yep.
And the second one, she really wants this. That's it.
That's it. Oh, and she's a badass because she saved the prince twice.
Yeah, usually you want to keep your assassins on your side.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. That one right there, I gotta say, the moment I saw her swimming up over the deck of that boat as it was getting ready to surface, I was thinking, no, don't tell me they're going to do this. And it was predictable. I saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah.
And I was just so disappointed they went there. Because...
Like I said, the trade was so unique.
Yes.
So unique.
And it's a reflection on what healthy relationships are between couples.
Yeah.
So I don't understand, why they had to change that. It just doesn't make sense to me.
They just can't help themselves.
They can't help themselves. Exactly.
That's
we are going to, you know what? We know better. We're going to make this a better version than what it was. When you had what I would say is, hate using the word, but it's a near perfect version already. So,
Oh, I mean, I don't think that can be argued. Like, not legitimately. You cannot look at the first film and go and go, it's wrong for this or wrong for that or wrong for this.
right,
It's just nuts.
right.
Like, I don't know. That ending just
Sealed it for me.
yeah, it was like, wow, you got to do it. It's just got to be the strong female character. I hate to be like that.
Ariel is a strong female character to begin with.
To begin with, she saved his life in the beginning of the film.
Right.
We established this. She's going against her father.
Yep.
You know, like, that's, I don't know. And she's not just going against her father for the sake of going against her father. She's going against her father because it's the right thing.
For her, yeah. She knows what she wants. And
Not just for her, but like overall, like, why would you let him die? Why just let him die?
true. Okay.
Her father's literally advocating you should have let him die.
One less human to worry about. Yep.
Exactly. So, moral of the story is she did the right thing. She didn't just let him die.
Right.
And her feelings about him aside, she just didn't let him die. She saved the man's life.
Yep.
And in the end, he does the right thing and, kills the evil big lady that's trying to destroy everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
They defeat each other's villains.
Right.
His was the Storm.
Yep.
Hers was Ursula.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy how it seemed to work out before, and now it's just you're left scratching your head wondering why we had to do the things we did here.
I don't know why Ursula just didn't make her forget about how she was bad.
Right.
I mean, she was able to make her forget about she needed to be kissed.
Yes, that was a whole other thing. I why they had to add that? It didn't make sense to me. It's the whole idea. I don't know. Yeah, they took a man. I don't know. My head's starting to fry here, but I'm like,
Right.
so many like missed opportunities. You said swings and misses earlier, and I feel like they weren't even looking at the ball coming towards home plate. You know what I'm saying? They weren't even watching it come. It's like so many times they could have done stuff with this. They just
Yeah,
went in a different direction, and it didn't work.
The way you're putting it in baseball, we call that a backwards K. You struck out looking.
Yep, exactly.
You didn't even make an effort.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the way I feel about this one. Like, and it did so many things right. There was so much potential here, but they just couldn't get out of their own way.
Exactly. That's exactly.
Couldn't get out of their own way.
Yep.
And I don't know what's worse. The fact that they're so lazy in Hollywood now that they're just remaking everything, or that they're so lazy but high and mighty that they gotta remake everything, but we can make it better.
It's all of that, man. That's the problem. It's all of that. I'm going to put my stamp on this thing. That thing didn't need your stamp on it, really.
No. It's one of the most successful for a reason.
Yep.
Why would you mess with that?
Well, we have to mess with everything now.
Yeah, because writing new stories, that'd be tough.
Exactly. That's so much work. We can't do that.
That's so much work. You mean there's not someone to tell me how to do it?
Right.
And then I just come up with something new along the way? Man, it sounds like work.
Yeah. It's hard.
So, yeah. Well,
Yep.
well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. You want to let us know how off we are, or how on we are, or, just how we're doing. You can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, at The Wars and More on X, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. And thewarsandmore.com is gone, but our podcast page is still up there, so thewarsandmore.libsyn.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think we've about covered it all.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon.